Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. So today I wanted to talk about Disney again. Apparently they're having a lot of layoffs. I guess even though Stitch was so successful, it still wasn't able to totally recoup their losses. So this article comes from the LA Times, but it was originally reported on by Deadline. But we're gonna get into the article and see what's going on. So the Walt Disney Company launched another deep round of layoffs on Monday, notifying several hundred Disney employees in the US and abroad that their jobs were being eliminated amid an increasingly difficult economic environment for traditional television. So I guess it's not affecting the movie department, but still, it's not a good look. People close to Burbank entertainment giant confirmed the cuts, which are hitting film and television marketing teams, television publicity, casting, and development, as well as corporate financial operations. Okay, so it's broader than I initially thought. The move comes just 3 months after the company axed 200 workers, including at ABC News in New York and Disney-owned entertainment networks. At the time, the division said it was trimming its staff by 6% among shrinking TV ratings and revenue. I wonder if the success of Stitch is going to help boost them, or if they're maybe going to cut back and keep making these safe bets like Lilo and Stitch spin-offs and sequels. I wouldn't be surprised if that were the case because they're probably just going to focus on their bottom line more than anything else. But anyway, Disney declined to specify how many workers were losing their jobs. The cutbacks, the fourth round of layoffs in less than a year, came after Disney Chief Executive Officer Bob Iger acknowledged to Wall Street that Disney had been pumping out too many shows and movies to compete against Netflix. So we've talked about this before, but Disney has a pretty substantial catalog going back decades, but they were just pumping out so much content and they also were not really on top of things properly. So there ended up being a lot of mismanagement of their new shows, to the point where it really came back to bite them. Kevin Feige had the final say on everything, and it became too overwhelming for one person, which caused problems because people weren't allowed to go ahead with their work if he did not sign off on it. And also, there was a lot of miscommunication or just no communication between projects. Like, very famously, WandaVision was supposed to lead into Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, but the people who worked on that film did not actually watch WandaVision before they made it. So the two ended up not aligning at all, aside from some very basic plot threads, and it didn't really work. And the whole thing now unraveled, and Disney is suffering for it, and it's probably going to take them a while to recover, so we'll see what the future holds. I think that Disney probably thought that they were too big to fail, and they learned the lesson the hard way that was not necessarily the case. And I understand wanting to capitalize on the popularity of the MCU, but they ended up, basically flooding the market with so much content and all these shows that you have to watch to understand the movies, to the point where it becomes homework instead of fun. So now we're here, and it's not a great situation to be in. But also Disney brought this on themselves, so they really only have themselves to blame. Anyway, the programming build-up accelerated as the company prepared to launch Disney Plus in late 2019, and it bulked up its staff to handle the more robust pipeline. But the company has since retrenched, reorganizing the need to focus on creating high-quality originals that meet Disney's once lofty standards. And I think that last point is, they basically started churning stuff out without great quality control, which led to a lot of movies and TV shows that weren't very well received, and now they find themselves in this situation. Disney has faced significant budget pressures after promising investors that its direct-to-consumer services, Disney Plus, Hulu, etc., would achieve profitability last year. The company lost billions of dollars over several years in its strategic shift to streaming, but it reached its goal to make money on streaming last fall. So I guess it's like one step forward, two steps back. And they have recognized the problem, but we'll see if it's too late for them to really turn it around or not. I'm sure they will be able to recover, but still, it was a hard lesson to learn. Still, streaming subscribers can be fickle, creating a daunting new reality for the company that could long count on cable TV subscriptions as one of its most reliable economic pillars. Cord cutting has taken a heavy toll. Yeah, it seems like they wanted to jump into streaming without really understanding all that entails, and I'm definitely not an expert, but obviously it's a lot different from like cable networks that they had in the past. And maybe they wanted to switch to streaming, but they were still kind of seeing it as the same as cable. But at least now they're trying to correct it. That has to count for something. The entertainment giant, one of Southern California's California's largest private sector employers, has eliminated more than 7,000 jobs since 2023. And maybe I spoke a little too soon. The traditional TV and film units felt the burn of the downsizing during the last year. In July, the company slashed about 140 workers, primarily in its Disney Entertainment unit. The company's TV stations also lost staff members, and ABC News shed about 40 employees last October. I wonder if this is also why they tried to cut down the budget for Lilo and Stitch, even though I'm sure everyone figured that that one would do really well, which has proven the case. But yeah, they cut corners on like CGI, for example, by giving Jumba and Pleakley human disguises, and so on and so forth. But yeah, I'm not sure. ABC News largely escaped this week's cuts, according to one knowledgeable person who was not authorized to discuss the internal moves. ABC News still boasts healthy audiences for its newscasts, but the ABC television network and Disney-owned entertainment channels have seen dramatic viewer defections as consumers switch to streaming services, including Netflix, Paramount Plus, and Disney Plus. Well, Disney Plus and ABC are both owned by Disney, though, so it doesn't matter. I'm surprised the news network is doing the best, admittedly, but good for them, I guess. ABC's primetime schedule has lost considerable steam. For the just-ended broadcast television season, ABC mustered over 3 shows in Nielsen's top 20 ratings. Monday Night Football on ABC ranked 7th by averaging more than 10 million viewers. Saturday Night Football ranked 18th with 7.4 million viewers, and Fisherman drama High Potential made the cut of 20th with an average audience of 7.1 million according to Nielsen. Monday's eliminations came 3 weeks after Disney presented its fall lineup to advertisers, leaning heavily on its sports stars including Peyton and Eli Manning rather than actors from its entertainment programming. I guess I'm not too surprised there because I've been hearing lately that it's not really actors that are becoming like A-listers or stars anymore, but it's characters like superheroes or like Stitch, for example, rather than how in the past it was that A-list celebrity that brought in views, which is definitely an interesting shift. I do wonder if now that means they're going to focus more on sports stars than even like the actors who played those now iconic characters. But I think sports is obviously a safe bet. ESPN was spared the axe as the sports unit was preparing for its high-stakes launch this fall of a standalone ESPN streaming service, the knowledgeable person said. I don't know, like maybe they should learn from Disney Plus, but if they think that it's gonna work out better for them, then maybe, I guess we'll have to see. The move comes amid a strong run for Disney's film studio, which has celebrated blockbuster box office results from the live-action Lilo and Stitch, which has earned $610 million in ticket sales globally, according to Box Office Mojo. Yeah, that also came right after the major flop that was Snow White. A month ago, Disney issued strong fiscal second quarter earnings. The company reported $23.6 billion in revenue for the 3 months that ended March 29th, a 7% increase compared to the same quarter a year earlier. Earnings before taxes totaled $3.1 billion, up $2.4 billion from last year, so that's a pretty major increase, a whole billion. So things are looking up for the company, at least in the near future, but that still did not save them from these layoffs. Hollywood Tradeside Deadline first reported the news of the latest Disney cuts. The landscape has been increasingly challenging for traditional companies. In addition to Disney, Warner Brothers, Discovery, Paramount, Global, and even such tech companies as Amazon and Apple have fired workers. Well, to be fair, Warner Brothers and Discovery have had their issues. I also did videos on them. But the article ends off with, in late May, NBC Universal cut 54 jobs in LA, according to state employment records. Six Flags Entertainment laid off 140 workers, and Disney shares closed down 9 cents. So yeah, traditional companies have been struggling, but maybe they can learn from this and grow from it, or maybe they'll just have to take the loss and do their best to move on. Or possibly do worse. I would not be surprised if Warner Brothers and Discovery continue to mess up. To be honest, I have less hopes for them than Disney, but that's basically where we are right now. Not great short term, but possible recovery. But laying off 7,000 people is nuts. I definitely feel really bad for the employees who lost their jobs because this was definitely just mismanagement and upper management's fault. There's obviously still creative people at Disney, given Wish's original ideas were pretty solid. And plus, there are a lot of people who are just going to work and trying to make a living for themselves. Like it said, Disney is one of the largest employers in Southern California. And I do think that a lot of this was very avoidable. Whether it was the suits overwhelming Disney Plus with too much superhero content and also overwhelming audiences with too much superhero content, or whether it was Suits axing really good ideas from Wish like evil power couple or a romance between Starboy and Asha, and so on and so forth. Just a lot of this was totally avoidable, but it is what it is, and I guess I can just hope that Disney learned their lesson and try to improve, or they're probably just gonna fall into the same routine of doing what made them a bunch of money like Moana and Lilo and Stitch, even if it means their quality is not going to be the best still. Like Moana 2, for example, was originally supposed to be a TV show, but instead they took it and sliced it up into a movie, and then we got a pretty lackluster film, but it also made a bunch of money, so Disney doesn't care. So yeah, admittedly, I'm not very optimistic, at least when it comes to the quality of Disney's movies and TV shows, but who knows, maybe someday we'll get a remake of Wish that actually focuses on the original ideas they had. That would actually be interesting. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the whole situation. What do you think about Disney cutting off all these employees? Are you not surprised? Do you think they can come back from this? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye for now. Thanks for watching, everyone. I really appreciate it. Before I go, I want to give a shout out to our members. Tyrant Carnivore, Shiny Orc Boy, Depth Charge Media, Samaru163, Gabby Hime, Verdant Range, JVR, Equestron, Norman Sweet Cream, Way Beyond Coincidence, Hunter Rose, 80s Nostalgia Guy, Felix Bam, Lucas Geist, J Draws, Meowsers, Sky, Philip, Isaac Martinez, Garcia XV Legend, Tobias Weller, Bandito Bane, Mac B909, Dakari the Professor, Todd McCaffrey, Omni Fair, Cavalcoj, Strider Exile, Phil C, Killer Bomb, Slawa Saporiguez, Entwined Boot 301, Griffin of Might, Frankie Camarillo, Datadyne Executive, Crimson Phantom, Jin the Goblin, Papa Hud 69, The Gengar King, and Daunter. Thank you for the support, and if you want to become a member, you can hit the join button next to the subscribe button. We also have Buy Me Coffee if you want to support us that way. And if you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and that part's free. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye for now.